The sun, once a warm embrace, now beat down with a relentless intensity. The once lush forest, a verdant sanctuary, was a skeletal reminder of its former glory. Trees, the source of life for the avian community, stood stripped and bare, their roots exposed to the unforgiving elements. This was the harsh reality faced by a family of the once proud Boca Chica State Park, whose life has been irrevocably altered by the relentless march of the new Mars Aerospace company that aimed to colonize the red planet. Years before, Thomas, the family's breadwinner, had been a skilled forager. His keen eyes and melodious songs were a testament to his bravery. He had spent countless hours soaring through the forest, carrying the sweetest berries and the juiciest insects to his family. However, the intensified, ruthless rocket activity by the new Mars Aerospace Company led to sound, light, and air pollution. Launch failures and testing has caused significant environmental damage, such as wildfires, tremors, and the release of hazardous substances. These activities have resulted in irreversible damage to local ecosystems, including wildlife habitats and marine environments, and have disturbed their harmonious existence. The once abundant food sources were decreasing, and the serene forest was desolated. One fateful day, due to a change in government, New Mars further increased their rocket testing without regard for the environment. In addition, New Mars began clearing vast areas of the forest to make way for a sprawling urban development for the new starboard town. The once pristine habitat was transformed into a concrete jungle without any life or any hope. Thomas, unable to provide for his family, was forced to make a heartbreaking decision. He would leave his beloved forest, his home, and embark on a dangerous journey to unknown lands, seeking a new opportunity to support his family. With a heavy heart, Thomas bid farewell to his wife, Eleanor, and their two fledglings, Tweety and Willow. He soared through the polluted skies. His once strong wings were now weary from the toxic air. He landed in a city called Laredo, a loud metropolis infested with cars. The air was thick with smog, and the noise was too strong. He struggled to find food and struggled with his mental health because his melodic song was lost in the urban noise. Meanwhile, back in the forest, Eleanor and the fledglings faced a grim reality. A failed rocket exploded in the middle of the air and scattered burning debris and an intense cloud of smoke, destroying the remaining trees along with the few safe nesting sites. Thomas's search for food proved unsuccessful as days turned into weeks. Feeling helpless, he returned to the forest, hoping to find his family and offer them some comfort. However, upon his return, he was met with the devastating sight of the forest, a desolated wasteland of barren land and polluted rivers and lakes. Eleanor and the fledglings were nowhere to be found. Thomas searched tirelessly, calling out their names, his voice echoing through the landscape, but there was no response, only the haunting sounds of the machines producing progress. Overwhelmed by grief and despair, Thomas wandered aimlessly, his heart heavy with sorrow. He encountered other birds, displaced and disoriented, their once bright feathers dull and lifeless. They shared stories of hardship and loss. Their voices expressed extreme sadness. As the days turned into months, Thomas continued his search, driven by a glimmer of hope. He ventured into the newly established starboard town, hoping to find green areas to live or find clues for his family's whereabouts. But this town was also a hostile environment. The noise, the pollution, and the constant threat of human intrusion made it impossible to find a safe haven. One day, as Thomas foraged for food scraps in a dumpster behind the building, he heard a familiar melody. His heart leaped with joy as he recognized the song of his wife, Eleanor. He stopped eating, took the food, and followed the sound. He found Eleanor frail and weakened, but alive, and fed her with the fries he had found. Together, they searched for their fledglings, Tweety and Willow. They went back to the forest and looked through the forest's ruins, calling out their names, but to no avail. Their hearts ached with loss, but they held to the hope that their children were still alive. As the seasons changed, Thomas and Eleanor continued their struggle for survival. They learned to adapt to the harsh realities of their new environment, foraging for food in city parks and dumpsters and seeking shelters in a few remaining green spaces or on top of buildings. They formed a bond with other displaced birds, sharing their stories and offering mutual support. One day, as Thomas was on top of a rooftop surveying the city, he spotted a small familiar figure. His heart pounded with excitement as he recognized his son, Tweety. Tweety, though smaller and weaker, had grown stronger despite the minor mutilation of his left leg due to the fallen rocket's debris. He had learned to survive in the harsh urban environment and fend for himself with the help of fugitive turkeys escaping from slaughterhouses. Thomas and Eleanor were overjoyed to be reunited with their son. They embraced him warmly, their hearts filled with love and relief. With Tweety's return, their hopes were renewed. They knew that together they would overcome the challenges that lay ahead. Nonetheless, Willow was nowhere to be found. As the months passed, the family of the now defunct Boca Chica State Park continued to adapt to their new realities, navigating the complexities of urban life, finding comfort in the few remaining green spaces, and building a community with other displaced birds. Though their lives have been irrevocably altered by human environmental destruction, they persevered, their spirits unbroken. However, they never thought that the humans would eventually see them as the plague.